six, five, four, three, two, one.
Good morning, all you beautiful people. Good morning. Bear with me, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties trying to get the headphones to work, and they don't seem to want to work today. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm trying not to wake up the family and have them hear all of you. But how are all you beautiful people doing this morning? Justine's on here with a beautiful smile, just welcoming the day. Amy's out there walking, all patriotic, flag in the back, rocking them guns. Bethany's I don't know where you're driving to, Bethany, but hey, let's go. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful Thursday already. Um I have to tell you, just getting started with this, Brock, as you all know, has to drop off his kids, so he will actually be in later. So I'll kick this thing off, and he plans on being in here around 8:30 ish, somewhere in there. So anyway, I wanted to first, before I even start talking about today, just go into a little bit, just showing respect to everything happening in this country right now. It is remarkably crazy to me. And I didn't even know some of the stuff that was happening. But when Brock wrote me this morning, he said that something happened in Charlotte. And I don't watch the news. I don't have cable, and I haven't had cable since 2011, because it was just way too much negativity going on while I was helping my wife through cancer. I couldn't handle that and the news. So I just never turned my cable back on since 2011. But to get on before this, because Brock said something happened in Charlotte, and then to watch the video, um, man. And then with Charlie Kirk and watching that video before this, that's not a way to start your morning. That's not a way to start the week. Um, and then I'll tell you guys, just being honest, I don't do politics. For those of y'all that have deep conversations with me, you guys know I don't go into politics, um, because everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I tend to respect everybody's opinion and want to stay out of that. But just to research this real quick before hopping on here this morning, and all you see is just like mass shooting here, ICE detaining Koreans over here, Epstein over here, this stabbing, this shooting, this thing, this economy, this, oh my God. It's no wonder people that start their day with the news. Let me just put this out there. I'm a grown man, and you're all grown adults in here. You do what you want to do. But I can tell you from an energy perspective, if that's how you start your day, what are you setting up the rest of your week towards? If this is all you listen to is all this negativity, just negative coming in from anywhere. And personally, having served in the military for 21 years, I know that whatever media is being passed to me is manipulated anyway, because there's always an agenda, and you don't always know the agenda. And so the perspective of the storyteller matters. So respectfully, with with this, and Brock, I know you'll listen to this later, man, and you wanted me to go into it a little bit. I don't do politics. I don't get into this. This is I just want to show respect for the families of all of the victims of all of these crimes and all of these tragedies that are happening. Whether you're talking about Charlie Kirk, whether you're talking about the victims of sexual assault, not just the Epstein stuff, but all across. I used to be a sexual assault victim advocate. Whether you're talking about the young refugee on the train, and it's crazy to think that um, her being an outsider coming from Ukraine, some people didn't even want her in the country, and then to have her life taken like that, mental illness and all of this stuff, like, yeah, don't want to go into that. So if y'all will forgive me, I'm going to skip over that. And for those of y'all that like the news and like that morbid stuff, more power to you. I like to keep myself in as positive a vibration as I can. I've had enough tragedies and traumas in my life that my body has to still process through. And so with that, um, I'll just shift gears. Is that good with everybody? Okay. Before I say that though, let me just make clear, um, because there have been some conversations happening, and like we hear stuff as people come to the restaurant and talk, and my restaurant is a community gathering place. You can quite literally see somebody wearing a MAGA hat sitting with somebody that is staunchly anti whatever, whatever establishment. But in my restaurant, it's a place where this is where people come to gather. They come to have civility, where you can actually sit down and break bread with each other and talk about your disagreements before the knife or before the gun comes out. And I just want to make clear as I look around this room today, I'm not your enemy. I don't know who feels that way, but I'm not your enemy. And most people are not your enemy. Just put that out there. I'm a man that exists in love, and I try and build love wherever it is that I go. And there's a lot of things that I see just in this very short snippet of getting on the news. Can see a lot of things that are being used to divide us. And I could care less if you are a Republican, a Democrat, a conservative, a liberal, a libertarian, whoever you are. I was raised in a community that said that he created all of us equal and that he loves all of us. So, with that, that's the way I live my life. I choose to look at every single one of you and choose to love you through whatever it is that you have going. And one of the songs that I released, um, I say that to be loved unconditionally, you must show all the conditions. And with that, as you guys show your conditions, I choose to pour more love into you from that perspective. Today's September 11th, so all of these tragedies happening on top of another tragedy there, and the memory of that. Uh, Crazy, just the amount of stuff going on. But anyway, shifting gears back into the positive stuff. I'm still on this, what I call the life urgency project, right? This life urgency project is about looking at your life and setting a date. This date, I understand the law of attraction and the law of vibration, right? But the whole point of it is that. So if I say that God has given me until December 31st of 2025, those are the last moments that I have on this earth, the last days that I have on this earth. How can I make the best of it? And if you take it from the perspective of thinking, like this may actually happen. Okay, if you're familiar with the law of vibration or the law of attraction, and you're saying this may actually happen, December 31st may be Derrick's last time. Then as I look in the mirror and reflect on that, and I say, how can I make the best of this day? And the message that came to me this morning, because I haven't slept yet, been up listening to Ray Dalio and some other things, just processing through some stuff. And it was how do I leverage this platform to help them in their life? And it's that word right there, leverage. Leverage, leverage, leverage. How many of you are familiar with the word leverage? Awesome. Good people. Now, Tony Robbins has this thing. He says that it's often not a problem of resources or a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And when I went to GrowthCon a couple of years ago with Grant Cardone, this was in Vegas. What was that, 23? GrowthCon 23. Anyway, when I went to GrowthCon, Grant Cardone kept harping on leverage, 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 leverage. And they were introducing these concepts. You guys are all in the real estate world. One of the examples from the real estate world was how to buy a house or secure a multifamily home without any money out of your pocket, leveraging other people's resources based on the talents and the skill that you present within yourself. So, not a lack of resources, a lack of resourcefulness. In this, with one of these few Thursdays that I have left with you beautiful people, until the new life of Derrick kicks in, I wanted to talk a little bit about this thing called leverage. But I wanted to begin with a very real example of how this happened in my life. In 2019, I had a thriving business restaurant, very popular. I had already been to Facebook and met Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg and um, traveled and been introduced to all types of awesome people, right? And because of my inexperience, that was my first restaurant that I opened. Because of my inexperience and mistakes that I made as a leader and as a business owner, I pissed off my landlord. And although the restaurant was open on this Wednesday, he told me you have until midnight to get out. And our relationship had deteriorated to that point. And so I needed to get out. And it had gotten to such a hostile place that um, at midnight, he actually called the police to tell the police that I was robbing him. And so the police come, guns drawn, and they just see people taking stuff out of the restaurant. And it turned into this whole big scene. I think what they were hoping for was the type of environment that exists in this country right now, because I probably would have ended up with a couple holes in me. But luckily, I had some community members that had helped me diffuse and de escalate the situation. Now, why do I tell this story? I tell this story because some of you may not know what it feels like to have life kick you in the teeth. Some of you may not know what it feels like to feel like the whole world is coming down on you and you don't know which way to turn, and everything that you know is just collapsing around you and you feel like you have nothing and no one. And what I learned on that day was that the community cared about me. So all of these people that came to help me move, I really appreciated them and it was great. Now, after that, it took me about 6 months. I'll be honest with you guys. It took me about 6 months of sitting in self pity, of being like, dang, dude, I messed up, you know, X, Y, and Z. 6 months of restaurant debt, but no restaurant income. I don't know if any of you have ever had a business collapse like that, but man, let me tell you, I see you, Michelle. You want to talk about stress? That can stress you out. To this day, I still have the bankruptcy packet. I keep it. It's in a blue folder because it reminds me of just how close I came to throwing in the towel and saying I quit, I give up. Like I've tried so many times to do so many things and it's like this is it. So I still keep that packet as a reminder because this message from Tony Robbins kept coming back to me. It's not a lack of resources, it's a lack of resourcefulness. And the real life example that I wanted to share with you guys is I quite literally went to a franchise convention in Long Beach, California, that I had already paid for before the restaurant shut down. I just decided to, you know what, I'm going to go anyway. And sitting in there, knowing that my restaurant had collapsed, it was actually packaged up in my garage. And I'm just sitting in here like, oh, what the hell am I doing in Long Beach? And this guy goes, man, because I had on a shirt, waffles and whatnot. And he says, I looked up your stuff online. This is amazing. How much? Listen, what do you think it would take for me to bring 10 of these to Australia? And I'm sitting here now, mind you, I'm sitting here thinking about all of the creditors calling me and who I can block on spam call and whatever. And this guy looks me up on Instagram and says, "What does it take to bring 10 of these to Australia? We can do an area franchise agreement." At that time, I didn't even know what an area franchise agreement was. So I said, "Let me get back with you." And that's what I did. I went through this process. I started learning. I hired lawyers out of Boston to help me actually convert waffles and whatnot into a franchise. And as I'm doing that, taking the last little bit of money I had to spread it across these various debts that I had, I drove around the city because one of the lawyers that was there said, "You know what? I want to come see it." And I explained the situation to him. And he said, "You know what, man, if you go back up to Alaska and you just get one open, give me a call because I'm going to come up and see it. And then we're going to do some business together." So I did. I came back up, I got off the airplane, and I literally started driving around the city. I found a location and I called the landlord. Now, this thing of resourcefulness, right? I didn't have the resources. I already told you I had 6 months of restaurant debt, right? So nothing coming in. The resourcefulness, though, this is the part where I want you guys to kick in your brains, leveraging what you have and who you are. I talked with the landlord. I explained to him truthfully the situation that I was in. And This is the way God works. He looks at me and he says, "Oh, my son is a chef in, I believe, San Francisco." And he said, I know the restaurant struggles, man. I feel you. Listen, he's a Korean guy. He says, listen, he told me his story of how him and his family came over from South Korea and built a family legacy, built a family business from scratch. And he said, I'll give you 7 months. If you can pay me the first month's rent and the security deposit in 7 months on this date, then you can stay. If you can't pay it, just walk away. And we shook hands. And from that, I parked my food truck out front of the restaurant where the restaurant was. I knew my numbers that I needed to hit on a daily basis to break even with the food truck and go buy more supplies and groceries and all this stuff. And then every time, every dollar that I made above that break even number would determine how many nails or screws or plywood or drywall or spackling or you name it, paint, right? Literally going to buy and paint a gallon at a time sometimes to make the dream happen. I tell you that story, and I tell a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, this story because, and it's not just about entrepreneurship, it's truly about life. Because now, here we are in 2025. That happened in, so the restaurant closed in 2019. I reopened it in 2020, in March of 2020, and then COVID hit. Literally like 12 days after we opened the restaurant, we had to shut it down because of COVID. But I tell that story because as I sit here today, we're now Alaska's highest rated food establishment on multiple platforms, been featured in all types of um, media. I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta to feed Food and Beverage Magazine, the founder of Food and Beverage Magazine, and a private chef dinner, and all these things. And I say that to say this: wherever you are in life, that failure or that thing that you think is your downfall, that thing that you think is happening to you and is destroying your life, is it possible that you can just take a piece of paper? In my case, I grabbed a giant, they sell these giant sticky pads at Office Depot, these yellow sticky pads. So I got one of those and I got a bunch of markers, right? And I literally just started taping them to the wall. Have you ever just sat and wrote this thing down so that you can look at it from a different perspective, so that you can get it out of your head? You see, as long as you keep it in your head, it's subject to the whims and opinions of all of the negative versions of you that you've had to deal with your entire life. The times that you failed as a adolescent, the times you messed up as a teenager, the lessons that your parents uh, told you how many times you're a screw up or whatever, whomever it is. Morning, Brock. But all of these voices that you have in your head that you haven't yet learned how to silence and to let go, because nobody on the planet talks to you worse than you talk to yourself. But when you take it and you write it down and you get it out of your head and you can put it up on the wall, you can look at it from a different perspective. And then look at it from a perspective of not the resources, but the resourcefulness. How can I do this? My favorite question: is it possible? Is it possible that I can overcome this thing? Is it possible that there are some lessons I'm supposed to learn from this? Is it possible that this is happening for me and not to me? Is it possible that I'm going to grow from this experience? And if the answer is yes to any of those, explore that. Danny, I'm telling you, explore it. Look at it, go at it. Is it possible that this is supposed to happen for a reason? Because you have a beautiful dream. You have a gorgeous dream. And your dream, I believe, can impact the world, not just the local marine environment, but the world. Because there are people that had a dream about cleaning up the giant trash pile in the Pacific. And now there's giant ships that are trying to clean the plastics out of the ocean, like this plastic field the size of Texas. So go after the dream. And that's for any person on here. Any person on here. Take it, whatever that thing is, write it down. I highly encourage you. On another time, I took a roll of painter's paper, the paper you roll on the ground. And I just taped that to the wall and just with a Sharpie and just started writing. Because as you walk past it, every time you walk past it, you're looking at it from a different view. You're seeing it from a different perspective. And there may be a thought that comes to you as you're looking at this from a different perspective that makes you just open up. And then, boom, you see how this can benefit you. You see now, back in 2019, when all of this was happening, and I started smoking weed and I started drinking, I just sat and like self medicating, self pity because my wife took the kids. She needed a break and she went back to Israel. My daughter was so pissed off at me because the house, oh, I didn't mention, within 24 hours, I also had my house foreclosed, right? And that was the house that my daughter was raised in. And so she applied as a exchange student, got accepted because she's super smart, and she went off to Germany. I retired from the military at the same time. And within the past 8 months, 9 months, I had lost both my grandmother and my mother. So my whole life was just in this blender. And I'm just like, what in the hell is happening? Why is all this happening? And I'm sitting on the pity potty. But at some point, after writing all of this stuff down, shifting the perspective of it, I was able to look and see, you know what? I can make something from it. I think I'm not ready to give up yet. And I couldn't tell you guys this back then. Had I had this meeting with you back then, you'd have got a different story from me. But I can tell you this now, sitting here in 2025. You know what? It happens for you. You may not know why it's happening right now, but it's happening for you. So ask yourself my favorite question: is it possible? And if the answer is yes, in any facet, if the answer is yes, then explore it, dive deeper, because then you can sit and you don't know the time, right? I didn't determine the time frame. I didn't know how long it was going to take me to recover. I didn't know that I was going to be where I am now, where I've now turned this thing into a national franchise and we're getting ready to open up branches. I didn't know that. And I couldn't have predicted that. I can just answer the question: is it possible? So, is it possible that you are resourceful enough to get through this thing that you're getting through? Hell, is it possible that as a country or as a community, we're resourceful enough to actually somebody be an adult in the room and hit the pause button and ask, can we come back together? Is it possible that somebody can unite this country instead of dividing it? Is it possible that I can unite my community instead of dividing it? Is it possible that I can not just be, uh, you know, whatever label you want to slap on me today, whatever label, can I just be Derrick for a little bit? Can I just be this guy that has lived experiences and wants to share the lessons of his life and then to listen as intently as I can? Because every person that I meet has the most interesting stories in the world if I can shut up long enough to listen. And that's just it. I want to shut up long enough to listen. I'm going to shut up right now, in fact, and listen. Because we have the main man has entered this room, Mr. Brock Zevan, and I'm going to shut up and listen.
Good morning, man. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday to everybody. Thank you guys for being on here today. And yeah, it's always a little interesting. My new routine in the mornings with the kiddos. And Derek said something to me really cool this morning. He goes, "Man, always like basically take care of your kids first. You take care of them first." And um, I always have a good time with Bryce when I drop him off. So good morning to everybody. Thank you so much. I was listening to some of the stuff that in between drop off and everything else. And if you don't mind, Eric, I was actually going to show this. Well, I am coaching this. I have props here.
All
And
right, man.
I'm
Go
doing
for
this
it.
for
Go
a
for it.
couple other coaching clients and some teams and one that I'm speaking at. But I thought maybe this could be really good for you all this morning. So I'm going to share with you something real quick here. It's going to be the abbreviated version, but you guys will be able to get a sense of it. So I'm going to change my camera and my microphone here. Can you guys still hear me all right?
Yeah.
They're two basketballs. Okay. You can all see them. It's kind of hard to really see, but in the world, on the outside, these basketballs, if you came to my house, I have a basketball hoop right outside of my house. And I leave all the toys out there and I bought a bin. So really at any given point, any kid can play basketball. And I have small little ones here for the little ones, and then I have big size basketballs for us adults so we can play at any given point. So for the sake of today, on the outside, you all see these basketballs, they look the same, right? They got different colors, but the shape's different. So in the outside world, our visual looks the same, meaning we're in the same room, the same environment. So everything that we are feeling, seeing, emotionally, kind of what Derrick was saying, it all looks the same to some aspect of it. Okay. The sky, the weather, whatever you're facing, feeling, seeing, reading, listening to, absorbing. I was listening to Derrick. He hasn't had cable since 2011 because he filters what goes on in his what? Inside. He filters what he allows to put in here. So whatever you're going through, growing through, seeing, allowing is you deciding whether or not you are going to filter it or absorb it. Because what matters in the inside is how you respond to your outside. And I'm going to share this with you. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my camera. You can see a little bit down below here. Because what you put inside of you matters how you respond to your outside. Because if your insides are full of love, positiveness, like Derrick says, you're going to bounce back up. But if you don't, and you don't have what you need in your inside, you are going to let the world around you and everything around you deflate you. But if you are full, you will bounce back up. You will be resilient. You will handle adversity. But only you get to decide what you fill yourself up with. And like Derrick said, he observed it, but decided how much he was going to put inside of it because he knows just as much as it looks on the outside and just as much as we see people, it all depends. Just as I just do it here, it can't even bounce up compared to what I do to a ball that's full of positiveness, resilience, and the serenity prayer is what you can control. So little did Derrick know that I was even going to do this on the conversation that I had. And little did I know that what's taking upon our world and what I put inside of me was the topic of a conversation I'm sharing with many people in different events that I'm coaching and speaking at. Because it's what we put in here, what we put in here, and what we do. So it's 8:45, Derrick, and that's my message today.
All right. I inspired Brock to play with his balls. And that is what I wanted to do today, is to make somebody smile. And I am happy. I am happy, right? With all the things going on in the world, you choose, like Brock said, you choose how much air you put into that ball, into your vessel. You choose what you allow in. I've said it before. There's something I heard in the past. You must learn to stand guard at the doorway of your mind, like a bouncer at a nightclub, determining who gets in and who doesn't. You have to learn to filter what is coming into your psyche. Because if you don't, someone is programming your mind to make you feel and think a certain way. And that is a recipe as I'm looking and as I hear certain things, it's a recipe for what they desire, which, just being point like blank blunt here, seems like a civil war of some sort. If I have the ability to do anything to prevent that by spreading love, spreading unity, building community, giving more hugs, traveling to Key West, coming to Nashville, coming to Charlotte, whatever that needs to be, then I will do that. Brock, I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you beautiful people that tune in here every Thursday and tune in every other day to support this man on his journey. Brock, you have any closing words you wanted to say, brother? Because you have some special guests coming on.
Tomorrow, I love to have you guys back. Invite whoever you want. I to get all three of these women together at the same time, all is a freaking act of Congress to try to get Amberly Lago, Kendra Cook, and Rebecca Black between the 8:15 Eastern time to an 8:45 because they all got different time zones. They all freaking travel and speak and do everything under. I got one in Utah, one in Texas, one in Tennessee, one in Florida, or one is in Florida. They're all in different states, but I got them all to come tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern time. Amberly, Rebecca, and Kendra are going to be speaking tomorrow. All three of them. They're going to be speaking in Nashville, and I asked them all to come together. So if you want to hear them, if you want to know something special we're also doing for Nashville, it is going to take place. Okay, is going to be happening tomorrow. So encourage you all, invite people, invite your teams, invite your guests. I don't care who. I've asked them all to come from the heart. I've asked them all to speak on something with intention and purpose. So tomorrow at 8:15, all three of them are going to be here. Join us at 8:15. Invite whoever on the Mindset Show. Derrick Green, I appreciate you, brother. Always pivoting, shifting, changing, and enlightening our community, our group, and our family. God bless you, brother. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for being on here this morning.
Thank all of you people. Have a beautiful day.